Go up to Tennessee. They have like quarter comics.
We have quarter bins and methamphetamines. If you do some meth, you can look for comics for a long time.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
Since the beginning of all comic books, creators have been mistreated. As for better pay, only to be told,
No!
Then, something happened that brought all media together. The internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic community. We support the just pay and recognition of these comic creators' comic fam. Because comics are for everyone. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, live from the United States to Australia. This is the Not Near Mint Show. A weekly YouTube show about comic books.
Welcome, everybody. This is episode 104 of Not Near Mint, and this is part of our Sunday series. We occasionally do this to promote Kickstarters that we want the comic book community out there to be aware of. And tonight, it's just one of those stories. It's about a young genius that's traveling the multiverse, similar to a certain wall crawler that was leaked earlier today that, well, Kevin Feige is kind of spinning his head trying to leak. Fix that leak anyhow. So one day before release, one day. But we're not here to talk about Wall Crawler. We're here to talk about the name of the book. It is Fletcher's Cross. Please welcome Derrick Chow.
Chow?
Hey, Derrick. Did I say Chow or Crow? Why do I keep saying Chow?
It's Crow, like the bird.
Crow.
Yeah.
I literally have it written right in front of me.
No, it's fine, really. That is a new
dyslexia.
one, though, so that is great.
Well, at least you can now scratch that off your bucket list that some idiot on the internet accidentally called you by a wrong name, which is not, actually, it's very much on brand right here. I would probably have that. It would not be true.
Not near mint. It's fine.
We are very not near mint. I'm not near mint. That's why I always say,
nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV. Wow, hey, look you guys, the sun's rising.
yeah, that pretty much sums up not near mint, all in a nutshell right there.
Hi, Tony.
Oh, hey, Stoney. And we're going to bring in the rest of the cast. First, we're going to bring in Miracle Man. Hey, Miracle Man. We're going to say hi.
So the fun of Miracle Man, what Alan Moore did that was so brilliant, Michael Moran has grown up and he's in his 40s, he's overweight, he's sad. There's something that he can't remember.
Hey, Miracle Man. You there? Oh, there he is.
That's so goddamn cruel. I can't even tell you how cruel that is. Like, I have feelings, man.
And we love you. And we love Stoney. And we love everybody out there that's watching. And we're going to bring in Ace.
And what do you need?
Probably a good fuck.
Hey, Ace.
Hi.
We should run these by Derrick before.
No, it's fine.
This is the first time we're bringing out these bumpers. Well, I have to apologize in advance.
Nope.
The last time I'm going to do this introducing people. I'm going to do this for later in the week, but just wanted to show the people out there. So we're going to bring in Whack.
No, Lou, let's just do it.
I'll go Batman. If anyone wants to talk about Batman. Hello, do you like comic books? But I just wanted to show you my comic book collection. This is some of my...
Can I eat your ass?
Hey?
Can I eat your ass? Like, can I put my tongue in your butthole?
If you subscribe to Whack Comics, you can.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hello.
Lee.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Derek. Ciao. How you all going?
Derrick
Hello,
Chow.
hello. It's
I'm
my
never
new
going to
last
live
name.
that down.
Oh no, I'm going to be reminding you of that for the rest of our time together, sir.
I actually practiced saying that before the show, which shows you that no matter how often you can try and practice something, it will often go horribly wrong at the last second.
So don't
That's okay.
practice shit and just stay a dumb fuck.
There you go.
That's how I live life.
So, Derrick, thank you so much for joining us this evening and coming on to talk about the book.
Hello. Nice for y'all to have me on. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Looks super cool. So tell us a little bit about Fletcher Cross, The Multiverse Awaits.
So it's an anthology about Fletcher Cross, the title character. He's been helping invent this and engineer this machine called the Dimensionalizer, which exactly what it kind of sounds like. It allows you to travel through dimensions. And after his partner Curtis Day is sort of showing government officials around, and they have this sort of like spat between them. Fletcher's not exactly happy how things are going with around the machine. He wants more credit for it. He wants more to do with it, that kind of stuff. And so he steals it and goes to take it for a test ride. And at that, we shoot off from there. He goes through many different adventures, and by the end of it, he learns a lot about himself and how he's been acting, and he's changed by the end. And where normally most anthologies it's one theme, or you have one character, or you have insert chapters that allow to connect the stories. This is all following one guy through one canon, regardless of whether or not they're different multiverses. For him, everything is a full experience to him, and so we thought that'd be a fun way to go about it, to try tell a full story through the whole thing, rather than just picking a theme and allowing everyone to run with that.
No, this is great. I imagine I know a couple of these characters here that we're seeing as we scroll through.
The Greasers and the Babies? Oh, the creators.
I didn't know who. When you said characterize, I didn't know if you were mentioning the characters on the panel or creators.
Both.
I was thinking the same thing.
Both, really. I imagine this one right here might have something to do with some merry men.
Some merry men, yes.
Yeah,
if it has to do with a specific merry man, you'll have to read.
Oh, that's fantastic. I gotta enjoy that. And a lot of different styles on the art here.
Yes.
There's some real variation, it looks like.
We have so many different people on. We have, I think, 18 creators total on this. If I remember correctly, it's close to 20. They're all wonderful.
How'd you get all on board together to do the project?
We have a way to talk to each other, and Kylar really kept a lot of that. Kylar, who's the co-creator on this, co-editor, he's the one who came up with the initial idea and then brought me on to help make sense of it all, get everyone on board, edit everything, all that stuff. And he's probably the most organized person I've ever met, and I bet if you asked him, he'd tell you he's the most disorganized person he's ever and he did a really good job about keeping everyone together. But everyone gets along great. We're friends with pretty much everyone who's on here, so it was really easy to. Everyone was super okay with anything that needed to be changed, feedback, all that kind of stuff, and they gave us feedback as well. So it was a give and take situation. It was pretty great. They were not. No one was hard to deal with.
Are you all similarly or in the same area, or
no? Everyone's from around the world.
Yeah, nice.
So it's a cohesive storyline where this guy starts off in one area of his life, You go through a couple years and he arrives at another. Everything in between is seemingly like an anthology. How do all the creators wind up keeping together the plot threads so nobody winds up stepping on each other's toes?
We did talk to a few people about, for your story, this is kind of where we're thinking about putting it, maybe have him have this sort of personality. But for the most part, it was really just, let them do whatever. We'll read it. We'll figure out if it works. If it does, throw it in there. And Kylar and I then came up with some stories that in the middle that sort of tie everything together, but still act as a complete continuation of the story without missing any beats. So it was really just us letting them do whatever and kind of rolling with that. We didn't do a whole lot of micromanaging on that. We worked with what they gave us.
Well, it helps with the narrative. There were a couple storylines where one of them, there was the story where he goes to steal a crystal, and it winds up popping up in a couple of the other storylines, and it even kind of figures into the end. And it seems that throughout this whole book, one of the central themes that at least that I picked up on is that wherever he winds up in the multiverse, that he is affecting all these cultures, yet somehow it's affecting him to a degree, but it's almost as though he has no consequence.
Yeah, so the story you're talking about, the Crystal Tomb, that's actually my story. And it was supposed to be a homage to Indiana Jones, particularly the opening scene. And as we were writing that, we were trying to figure out if there's any way to use some of the items throughout the story as sort of bridges. And that was one of them that we decided on. And yes, as far as the consequences go, he does actively affect these worlds. Whether or not that is a good or bad thing, we may never know. Unfortunately, the reality of jumping through different universes means he may never return to them. Hopefully, he learns a lesson from everything. But as far as like a true real consequence, we definitely tried to give him some sort of consequence at the end for at least one of the things that he does. Hopefully it came across as a real attempt, but I'll leave that for the reader to decide. But yeah, unfortunately, no. It is a story where he is affected more on an internal emotional level versus a physical, what I want to say. If there's a monster and he doesn't help, and he maybe helps create the monster and it destroys this world, that may not follow him into the next one because he's jumped out of that universe. So he's no longer a part of its events. And it sucks, but that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes from that, and I believe the title of that chapter that you wrote was The Crystal Tomb. Yeah. And this was very end of this portion of the tale, so I'm not spoiling anything of the actual ending or anything that's content of the book. I want the readers to be able to judge that for themselves. But when you get to the section where he steals this crystal and it's from a tribe and you just hear from another language, which clearly he does not understand, you've doomed us all. Yeah. Wait, what? And then blinks out of existence for them. Meanwhile, they have to live with the consequences. And I'm going, where did that potentially leave? You have another creature that I'm going to come back for you. I'm sensing a sequel here. If this is good, if people like this, I'm kind of curious where the rest of this could potentially go.
We've discussed about that We've discussed the possibility. There's obviously way more room for stories. We have a few that we would love to be able to do, but whether or not it got a sequel isn't really dependent on if people love it or not. It's just really dependent on if we feel like we need to.
Yeah, that's a better choice. If people love something but you don't have the story, you don't have the story to tell.
Yeah, I really enjoyed leaving some of those stories open-ended. I liked seeding little things that may or may not ever come up again. It felt like a real natural way to make him a real part of the story without diving too deep into everything else that his actions could have caused.
Right.
If you're going to be getting into a sequel, you'd rather have something that you're working towards, that it's a work of effort, of love, rather than, Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I love continuing stories more, just as much as everyone else does. But I'm okay to leave stuff aside of mine if I don't have anything to follow it up with.
So tell us, Derrick, how long you been making comics?
Depends on how you look at it. I'm probably making comics regularly for the last 5 or 6 years. But my first comic I ever made was 10 years ago this year. But they're all like self-published stuff online. Almost everything is free to read. I have never had a comic on a comic shelf or anything like that, unfortunately. But I started regularly with the Comic Jam, which is a indie comic conglomerate of people getting together and making one-page comics based off of different themes. It's a lot of fun. And then I got more experience as I went, and more opportunities. I've edited a few comics, and I have a webcomic as well that I'm currently working on. And then I got hired several years ago to adapt a fan fiction of a TV show into a comic, which was my first published book. Lightning Only Strikes Once. So since then I've been in a few anthologies, but other than that, this is really a first for me in a lot of ways.
And if somebody wanted to find that, would they be able to go to foreignpresscomics.com?
That book, you'll have to go to a link on my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet to go read it. But for my webcomic, yeah, you can go to Foreign Press Comics and website, or F Press Comics, and go to the website from there and read Natality. It's another multiversal type of series, and it's I'm working with a really good friend, Eric Carmen. He's a great artist.
Hold on, did I just hear Eric Cartman?
Carmen, yeah.
Carmen, okay, good. I'm just making sure, because I just said something earlier today about Eric Cartman, and I was like, wait a second. This is just me screwing up names.
You would have had me and Whack at Eric Cartman, but Eric Cartman, yeah.
It's close, but not quite.
Not quite there. So, I have a very serious question I have to ask you. I try to ask every creator we have on here one very serious question. So I hope you take this. This is the most important one of the night.
Okay. I'll act as if my life depends on it.
Okay.
It does.
It does. Stanley.
Okay.
Versus Carmine Infantino. Who wins in a fight?
Stanley, because who could punch him? He's too adorable.
I'll take that answer. Although, I'll be honest with you, I know I always bet on a Carmine, because who do you know that's a Carmine that isn't somebody who's been punched in the face 5,000 times?
Thankfully, I don't know Carmine, so couldn't tell you.
And he's gone.
Bye, Rob.
Alright, so now the show's just starting since Robo's here. Hello, Robo. And
Robo and Ree.
Who was that? You know the Miracle Man?
I'm very familiar with both of those individuals you just mentioned. So Derrick, in your life, have you been a comic fan? Is there a comic that you've loved in the past?
Oh yeah, I've been
What's
a
your
comic
taste?
fan for a long time. Probably since junior high, middle school, junior high, something like that. And I just read. There's a lot of different things I love. I don't have a specific genre that I point to as my favorite. Just whatever sounds interesting to me. Lately, I've been reading Teen Titans Academy, Sweet Paprika, Money Shot.
Yeah.
Adam Strange. So, and then I also recently started the old 80s Hawk and Dove series. So, been reading that for the first time.
Classic series. Wait till you get to the Kessel stuff.
That's actually what I'm reading, the Kessel stuff.
Good stuff right there.
This is Rob Liefeld's start, right?
The first mini series, yeah. Yep. I'm on the ongoing that came after it now.
Yeah.
He pissed off everybody involved. Just get along with everybody and you'll do well as an artist.
I'll tell you now, man, I read that book, the first miniseries with Rob Liefeld's art, and I was blown away of how much I liked his art on that one.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels like it steadily got worse over time.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I don't know, time frame wise where that falls with his
it was like 86, 87. I just recently read it, so it's fresh in my mind. Something like that, late 80s.
Yeah, that's
right all the way up until about the early 1991 era. This is when you'd still have shooters saying, we need less of this flashy stuff. We want to see the basic air meat showing that you can do anatomy. I'm seeing too many vertebrae. Well, clearly they did not heed that, some of them. And Todd McFarlane actually got better as an artist, and Rob Liefeld still continues to sell books.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just
don't learn art from him.
Oh yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of his art style, but like seeing his stuff from the 90s to, like I said, what I saw in that miniseries, it was just like night and day for me personally. And I'm not trying to talk crap on him. That's just since it was brought up, that was just something I noticed that I was surprised by.
Yeah, you do kind of see that. Not even to say anything negative about Rob, but just in general, you see some artists sometimes they'll start off on a book and they're great, and it definitely after a while starts to feel like, maybe they're phoning it in a little bit. Maybe
yeah, people love his art. People love his art. Like, then that's fine. Like,
yeah, that's okay.
Well, one thing that I did kind of notice when it comes to most artists and really people in general, that when you start to get into a groove, and this is something that I noticed way back in the late 90s when I was watching actual artists that are trying to sell in a gallery. And once you find a niche, they just want the gallery owners, they just want you to keep repeating the same thing over and over. This is why you'll see certain people as a cover artist go, why is there no background anymore? Oh yeah, because now I can finish covers a little bit faster. Black hard background. It looks good. It sells books. That's fine. What about Gotham City? I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
It's in the book. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's starting to look more like wizard covers, which is not a bad thing necessarily. It's very character focused. But when I'm seeing somebody being able to throw in all the strands of hair, throw in a great background, show a great composition, it shows that either they're a very new artist or somebody's throwing a lot of money at that particular cover or interiors for that matter.
Right. But yeah, I like Marvel, I like DC. I love indie books. It's just really just whatever catches my attention at any given point. I noticed all the books you guys, the episodes I watched earlier today. I noticed all the books that you guys got, and some of those did look very interesting to me.
Well, if you ever want to know what new books are on the stands, this crew has a buying comics problem. So it's easy to find out. So, let's say,
it's to the point that Miracle Man doesn't show the collection. Go ahead.
So let's say the anthology does really well, and we spawn some sequels because everybody has great stories for him, and where does Derrick see himself ideally, 10 years from now in comics?
I mean, my dream job is to either write a really good Teen Titans run or a really good Silver Surfer run. So ideally, I would love to be there in 10 years. But if I'm just like, but I also have some really good stories that I would like to write, either as miniseries or graphic novels. So if I'm doing that as well 10 years from now, I'm just as happy. I just would like to be doing this more often than I do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
Teen Titans run, you said.
Yeah.
The current.
You already have an idea for it, or you just love the characters?
I just love the characters. I mean, I've had these in the past, but I've come to learn that there's no point in trying to really come up with a good detailed plan now, because most likely it's going to happen several years before you get a chance to do it. So
you have your entire script ready, and then all of a sudden they decide to go, yeah, we're going to change this person into Harley Quinn, and your bad guy is now Wally West.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay, I'll take my check.
Yeah. You can be one of the biggest writers in the industry, and that could still happen to you.
Truly.
Yep.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Teen Titans myself. Who's your favorite? Which is your favorite mix-up? Which is your favorite team? The Modern, the Perez run?
I love the Perez run with or Wolfman and Perez. But the formative team for me growing up was not only the TV show, but for comics, the Jeff Johns run.
Yeah. Great run.
So, and I've actually been reading that lately, and some places it doesn't hold up. Things that I completely forgot about. But overall, I've been really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jeff Johns' DC work, and I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say, it's a lot what people may refer to derisively as a fan wank, but I'm the fan that's wanking to it, so that's okay. The guy knows how to put together a story if you're a hardcore DC fan that you're just going to love.
Yeah, I really liked his Green Lantern stuff as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Did you ever read his JSA run?
No, not yet. I want to, though. It's on my list to read.
Oh yeah, great run. So it sounds like you've worked with a ton of indie creators over the years. You said you have a nice chat that you work with folks, or that you get to talk with folks.
I recommend anyone looking to make comics, reach out to Comic Jam and see if you can get in, and they're a pretty cool group. They're not difficult to or anything, but it's a great way to learn how to work with many different personalities, deadlines, tell a story in a very quick, concise manner, because you only got one page, and it's really, really a lot of fun. And you're surrounding yourself with people who also want to do this, so it's good motivation to keep going.
No, that sounds great. I was going to ask you what your advice for new comic people would be, but that sounds like you just gave it.
Yeah, that would be my advice. Surround yourself with people who want to do the same thing, so it allows you the motivation to keep going, because if they're succeeding, it makes you feel like you can succeed as well.
And be cordial to the editors that are in various companies on the internets.
That too.
Yes. Never be rude to an editor, because they remember that stuff.
And they talk to one another, just like teachers.
They sure do. So let's take a quick look at the tiers for everybody so we can see what we're working with here.
Throw it up on the screen.
I think I might have closed it, so let me bring it back up
I
here
don't
real quick.
remember all of them, so this will be a journey for me too.
Oh, there we go.
And down here at the bottom of the screen is the buy-in, $10 for the digital, $25 for print and digital, and Miracle Man is bringing up all the other different tiers currently.
Yeah, so real quick, we are in our last week of it. We have a $5,000 goal. We just reached 2,000 today. It would be amazing to get this published, because here's the thing. Pretty much all of it's done. We have some editing to do. We have a few short stories that are mine that we're finishing up to add to the book, but it's basically already done. It just needs to be put together for print if it gets funded, and we might be able to have it out by the end of the year, which I think is our projected goal currently for delivery.
Yeah, it looks like it's showing December 2021 for the estimated delivery. Hopefully we're not hit by a pandemic like last year, which threw everybody's I think everybody off. But $10 for the digital guys, 25 for the physical. That's not too bad. How many pages are we looking at here?
That's a little over 100, I think, like 110 or so, something like that. I mean, we got a few things to add in, so it'll probably be closer to 115 by the time it's done.
All right. I definitely try to get the most bang for my buck. So less than 25 cents a page is an absolute bargain in the comic world.
Yeah, I agree.
So especially with anthologies,
we wanted to keep it affordable. Like, we don't have a lot of clout to our names. We're not big names or anything like that. We wanted to ask for what we felt was reasonable for people who's never heard from us before. Right. And plus, it's nice to have as many people able to read the book as possible. So we really did try to think of not only what we think is a reasonable price for the book itself, but also like what you might find on a comic shelf, but also for where we're kind of at in our journey to becoming more successful.
Well, it should certainly help you out. But yeah, guys, take a look at it. You can get some sketches in here. You got some retail deals for anybody who might come across watching the show. You can pick some up for your shop. Definitely give some indie comic space. I know a bunch of stores that have special just for Kickstarter projects where they'll put books up. So if you find our little show here, take a look. So did we get all of them there? Yeah, we got them all there. All right, I'm gonna pop this share back off. There we go.
Now, if only we could get somebody with $500 or $1,000 so you could get a nice little sketch done, or the sketch, the book, your house, your car, your pet. Is your pet involved?
We'll pay your mortgage if you give us $10,000. No, okay.
And you get 10 copies.
Exactly, and you get 10 copies.
That's generous. That's generous.
I know there's one tier we have where we'll edit your story as well. There's one comic on Form Press Comics that I've edited and it's created by Kylar, Merrell, the other guy on here, called Outlaw Country that people should check out. And there's another comic supposed to be coming out later this year. I can't talk about it right now. It's going to be another webcomic that I as well edited. So
very cool. Very cool. So you said you've been doing a webcomic. I got to ask you, I don't have this opportunity to speak to a lot of people who do web stuff. Do you find that, comics is comics, in any type of form, but do you find the format of web comics transfers well to print and or vice versa?
Yeah. You have to create your print pages for a very specific measurement, but take that exact page and post it up online, and it's going to be fine because there's really no specific guidelines for putting anything on the internet generally. And for me, comics is comics. Like, if you read just web comics, you're a comic reader. Like, there's you don't have to go to a comic shop every Wednesday to be a comic reader. It's great for the comic shop, and it's great for people trying to sell their comics, but it's not necessary to be a comic reader. So wherever I can create and people will be able to read it and hopefully enjoy it, that's what I want to do. So
yeah, I know somebody that says, yeah, I have every single issue of Amazing Spider-Man. I'm like, oh my God, that is awesome. How long did it take you? I'm like, no, I downloaded the whole thing from Comicsology.
Right.
You might not be a collector, but you have an awesome reading catalog.
They got the heart. They got the heart.
They're the heart. That's right.
You're a reader still. If you read one panel, let's go all the way back to the 1930s when you have Siegel and Schuster. When they were trying to sell Superman, it started off trying to be marketed as a newspaper strip. They cut it all up, put it onto the pages, and went, shit, fine, it's a fucking comic book. Here. Yeah, and webcomics just the same. You can break it down from the pages. You're no longer confined by any of the types of boxes. You can do literally whatever you want.
Exactly. And for our webcomic, we didn't do for some people it's like 3 panels side by side. For a lot of older webcomics, we're just doing a full page for each individual story. So, and if someday in the future, if we have enough material and it's people want it, hopefully we can do a print version of that, because that'd be pretty fun. But right now,
I'm thinking of different opportunities of just using the internet to market to people, like DC using their webtoons now just to get new audiences reading comics. And whether you're doing it online, whether you're doing it with, a tangible format, whatever it might be, as long as you're reading something, it's like my dad says, I don't care what the kid reads, as long as he reads something.
Yep, that was my parents too. Like they were ecstatic that I loved reading comics, because it meant I was reading. That was all they cared about.
And this is an industry where you're now seeing post-pandemic that if people are trying to collect older back issues, they're paying through the nose. It's making people turn away going, I don't know how I can ever afford anything. At least there's some of the new books where some of the new books day after release. Oh, that was $3.99. Yeah, $10, $20, $50. In the case of Something's Killing the Children, $600. Yeah. So at least you have an alternative. So if people can go, you know what? I am not getting involved with that shit. It's too much money. Hey, wait a second. I can still read it here. Maybe pay $1, $2, $3, whatever it is online. They're still getting the content, and creators still get to make the material. And whether it's on a piece of paper or not, as long as people continue appreciating the things that we grew up with, and then they become creators themselves like you are. I mean, everyone gets influenced by one another. And like, who is the one person that wound up influencing you more than anybody else to go, you know what? This is why comics should be made. And why is it Jack Kirby?
It actually wasn't Jack Kirby, but that would be a good creator to look up to. It was probably Grant Morrison more than anything. His run on Batman, his run on Final Crisis, that kind of stuff. Like when I was in high school reading those, I was just like, this is the kind of stuff that I want to do. Something that's weird out there, but is like so cool to just read and look at.
Just so you know, Grant Morrison's pronouns are they, them.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That is something I only just learned.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Thank you for reminding me that. Yes, they, them. I'm sorry.
I forget it quite often myself. It's, it happens.
We always try. That's what's
right.
important.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Try and be willing to take input. Those are really what you got to try. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do.
They're a wonderful creator, and they did a lot to inspire me in the way that they tell their stories.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, the way that we kind of have to think about this is, and it really is in very similar, like a marketing perspective, that it doesn't matter, and I see this all the time, it does not matter what we think. It matters what everybody else thinks. It's great that I might love one thing or another, but does the larger consensus of the reading majority prefer this, that, or the other? It's what is going to sell a book. I might prefer one thing, but if this is selling, I mean, shit, in the 1950s, they threw gorillas on covers just because it would sell goddamn books.
Yeah.
I wish I was joking. That's sadly not a joke.
No,
it's not. They did Jungle Girls for a long time just because that was what was selling.
Right. I wonder why. I bet you there was a couple of reasons.
Skin.
I won't lie. I still buy Jungle Comics to this day, so I really can't say too much about it. You said Grant there, and I happen to notice. Rob, you mentioned Jack there, and I happen to notice there was an F Nazi story in here, and as it is our show's brand.
One page, or wait, no, it was like 2 pages or 3 pages. He winds up quantum leaping into World War II. What the hell is going on here? He just sees one simile and goes, "No, fuck this." That's an instant buy right there.
Yeah.
At least for Miracle Man.
Right. So all my fellow fuck Nazis fans, make sure that's not true, Robo. I don't buy everything. Sorry, go ahead.
Kylar wrote that, and I loved it, and we talked for a short bit about whether or not we should keep that title, and we should keep that title. Like, you don't not keep that title.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely right.
In case anybody needs reminding, Nazis
Exactly.
were the bad people.
Right.
Exactly.
It's sad that our great
I was
grandparents.
I was actually reading the former president supervillain Twitter earlier today, and just laughing so hard. That's where they someone took Trump quotes and put them in Red Skull's mouth for panels in the comics, and you can tell the difference. It's great.
It is good. I've seen it. It's terrible when you're the leader of the free world. Is dialogue is interchangeable with like literally a Nazi. Literally.
That's weak. I use the best words. Why do they only contain 1 or 2 syllables?
Syllables was too big of a word.
Because I don't read. I'm a licorice. A licorice. I'm a licorice.
So Derrick, that's a good one.
And real quick, the other creator that inspired me the most, just because I do want to mention him for a minute, Satoshi Kon, an anime director. His films are very close to my heart, and so
Perfect Blue.
That's the other big creator that really inspired me the most.
That's one of those creators where when you think about anime and you're thinking about whether it's tentacles or Pokemon, you have a man that can really just boil down the essence of what it is to be a human being.
He's a good middle ground, for tentacles and Pokemon.
Yeah, there's no tentacles. There's no real. I mean, there's action. There's some moments where people might think that they're real or not. There's even a very ethereal girl that kind of dances on the air, but it's just her psychological disintegration occurring in real time.
They're good stuff, and everyone should check out his films.
Ace, you would love that movie.
Gotta watch it one day.
Perfect Blue, that's the one. It's a good horror film, good psychological thriller.
Sorry,
we got off on rails.
No, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, you're fine. I was fine right up until I looked at the chat. I shouldn't have done that. This chat will always fuck with you. So
fair.
They have their own lore going on here in the chat.
They sure do. They're good. Come on. Didn't have to do that. So we're a very professional show here, ladies and gentlemen. And then
we don't get paid. That's all that professional means. We don't get paid. We ain't professional around here. We're not near mint.
So Derrick, we're coming up in about 45 minutes here. Just wanted to give you a couple of minutes to tell everybody why they want to back this book, and give us a little pitch on the book.
Well, what makes it a little different from other anthologies is not just that Fletcher is traveling through different multiverses, or different universes in the multiverse. But instead of being like what if stories, kind of like how you're seeing on What If on Disney Plus currently, they are interconnected to him. They're all canon within his story, and they're different genres. So almost every different world he visits is a different different genre of story. So we have a noir detective story, we have the Indiana Jones story, we have a Christmas story, we have the World War II story, we have a Lovecraftian story, and all of these are different. It was really nice playing with that as well, sort of like just instead of just making it different what if scenarios for him, it is playing with genre instead. Like we also have a pirate story in there, that kind of stuff. And then it's a pretty safe back. Almost everyone we've shown it to so far, we've gotten good feedback from. They've enjoyed it, and we are pretty much done with it. There's, like I said, a few small things to do to it, but is pretty close to being ready to be printed. So we shouldn't have any trouble getting it to that stage if it gets funded.
Yep. I was really hoping that if you make it to a second volume, you could have Pee Pee Poo Poo Man in there. And
Pee Pee Poo Poo Man?
Yeah. And that he could like worship
Show
my
me
subjects as a
Pee Pee
temple
Poo Poo Man.
just beat it like every second. It would look a lot like Miracle Man. That's why he can't show his face.
Okay.
Oh, come
But,
on.
like a log for a head instead.
You're talking about this guy?
So the fun of Miracle Man, what Alan Moore did that was so brilliant, Michael Moran has grown up. And he's in his 40s, he's overweight,
Very old.
he's sad. There's
Very
something
sad.
that he can't remember.
That's super dad. To answer Ree's response, hiring fascists.
Yeah,
They're
right.
getting better about that.
They're getting better about that. Well, Derek, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
One last question from the panel. We do have somebody asking the question for Derek. What needs to change about the comics industry as of yesterday?
Yeah, hiring fascists.
Yeah.
Oh, I have my announcement. If y'all want to hear it. Okay. This is going to change your lives, but I love everybody and you're my best friends.
Love you too.
Yeah,
Yay.
we love you too.
So are there any conventions coming up you might be attending or any other appearances you might be making where people could wind up seeing you personally for the book?
No, I've never attended a con as a tabling or as a guest before, so nothing like that in the works right now. If I went to a con, it'd just be as someone walking around, an attendee. But no, there's nothing like that coming up currently.
Now, given the story that just came out today of a certain creator that we do admire around here, sometimes you're still going to have to deal with crazies, and no matter how you react to said crazy, you're still going to catch shit from people because the more popular become, the more people have opinions about it.
Get vaccinated, wear your mask. That's super easy.
And just keep creating content that you love that makes you want to continue on living to another day, so that others can be inspired to pick up the pen, the pencil, the brush, so they can do the same as well.
Yes, agreed. Always be inspiring.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much again, Derek, for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it. We hope to have you again.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you.
And to the chat, thank you for coming in and doing your best to derail the show as always. You are not our chat. You are absolutely part of the show, so we very much appreciate it.
As a bald, Fast and Furious man once said, "We're family."
Fucking A.
Now, if only we could ride a car off a building into another building and into space.
Yes, that's how I live my life.
The space one's pretty crazy, but even in the last movie, they're like, hey, let's jump this from like one island to another island. And he was like in a Dodge Charger. I don't even understand. Like that show went from guys who drove fast cars to like superheroes who fly cars. And I don't know where the hell that happened.
Honestly, if they're not entering the multiverse by the final film, what are they even doing?
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
So at what point are they going to put a shark in the passenger seat and then jump it across whoever cares, because that's probably going to be the last film?
It has to be the final shot of the final film. That's what you have to do. It's the end
credit scene.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and they should actually do it. It should be like a jump into the future where it's like their last race. Like Vin Diesel is like all old and shit and wrinkly.
Yeah.
Hey, all them action stars that we've ever watched from the 80s, they're all now looking like wax figures that have been melting in the sun here in Florida. So, but otherwise, thank everybody for joining. Thank you, Derrick Crow, for joining us today. I am so sorry for butchering names because I am the worst. Sometimes that does happen. But when your book sells, we want to hear how well it's done.
It made me laugh.
Oh, good. So that's how
I make people laugh because they just have to look at my face.
Feel you on that.
That's good, Derek. We're glad you liked it. That's how we're going to refer to you from now on, not just on the show, but also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever we find you. If we bump into you in a show, we're going to call you Derrick Chow. And
Go for it.
You'll know it
You're
right away.
Having people calling you that and just wonder why.
That's how it'll be our family in joke.
There we go.
Yes.
And go, God damn it, it's worse. Now I know why. So thank everybody for watching. We will be back on Wednesday. Our guest for episode 105 will be David Pepos, and we are so looking forward to that. So otherwise, check us on the replay if you didn't catch us from the beginning, and we're gonna just close out the show with our new ending. So
speaking of which, I love your feature-length intro, by the way.
well, hopefully you'll like the feature-length closing, because we're ending the show tonight. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Love one another as much as you love your comics, or at least give it a shot. It's not that hard.
Yeah, you know.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Rob Worst, Lady Fantastic, Miracle Man, Comics on the Mind, Ace, and Whack Comics will be back next week. New Comic Book Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time,